Alright, this is Vegeta8259, and this is my first, and possibly only, work in progress video for Master Grade Deathscythe Hell EW. And as you can see, I've already snapped the kit together, and up to this point all I've done is assemble the kit and went over the entire kit with a light sanding. I've actually never done that before. I've seen a lot of modelers do that. They'll take their kit out of the box and then sand the surface of every single part. And I'm not really sure what the advantage is. If the advantage is to make the paint stick better, then I've never had paint issues in the past, so that seems kind of pointless to me. But I'm willing to give anything a try once, so I went ahead and sanded the entire surface of the kit, so I guess we'll see if it has any real advantage later on. But anyway, so this is where I'm at now, and I'm not doing any real modifications to this kit, so I guess at this point we can go ahead and start painting. Alright, so I've disassembled Deathscythe and divided all of his parts up into the different colors that I'm going to be painting. Now, you may notice that some things might be a little off. For example, I've got some white parts in here with the gray stuff. Now, you may remember in the unboxing video I mentioned that Deathscythe Hell has two different color schemes. The line art colors and the OVA colors. And I'm actually going to be using the OVA colors that were actually used in the movie for my Deathscythe. Here's the Master Grade manual, and this is the manual from the High Grade from 1997. And as you can see, like here, we've got green cameras on the head and orange cameras on the head. And here we've got kind of a purplish gray for the body, and here it's more of a neutral gray. So those are pretty much the only two differences between the two color schemes, but I'm going to be going with the old school color scheme. Let's see, I'm going to be using a kind of a brownish gray for the inner frame, at least most of it. I'm going to be using a light gray for the armor and some of the joint parts. Black for all the black armor, yellow, red, white. The clear parts are going to be clear orange, except for the eyes, they'll still be clear green. I'm going to do a little bit of airbrushing on the beam scythe like I did for Nataku. And for the wings, I've actually got a little something special planned. Nothing too fancy. I'm actually going to make my first attempt at digital camo for the wings, so we'll see how that works out once I get around to that. Now, starting off with the colors I'm going to be using, all of these parts have already been painted. For the inner frame, I used this, well, it's called anodized bronze. It's kind of a brownish gray color. So that's what I used for most of the inner frame, but not all of it. Actually, some of the exposed joints, like the knee joint here, for example, I painted in light gray, the same light gray as the armor, and that's keeping with the color scheme from the OVA version. And speaking of the light gray, here it is. This is the shade of gray that I'm using for the armor, and it's a bit lighter than I was expecting it to turn out, but I think it's still going to work out fine. As I actually had to paint these parts twice. The first time they came out way too dark, and I just didn't think it looked right. It was almost like this shade of gray, but I went back and repainted them and made them a lighter shade, so I think this will work out pretty nicely. And the black parts I painted in straight black. And I actually took some dark gray and did a little bit of highlighting on them, but I'm not sure if maybe the black paint absorbed the dark gray paint I was using, because the black was still kind of wet when I was doing the highlighting. But I don't know, it just got really dark and you can barely even see the highlighting at all. I mean, it's still kind of visible, but it's not nearly as apparent as it was when I was first spraying it on, so it doesn't really bother me enough that I want to go back and change it, but it'll just be a lesson learned for in the future when I do that highlighting technique. And here are the white, red, and yellow parts. And again, didn't really do anything special with them, just did some subtle shading on those, just enough to give it a little bit of definition. And last but not least, for the clear parts, as you can see, I've painted the forehead cameras clear orange and painted the eyes green. Again, that's in keeping with the OVA color scheme. And for the blade of the beam scythe, kind of like I did with my Nataku a couple weeks ago, I went about halfway up with fluorescent green and then just did a little core of white right here, leaving clear green towards the end of the beam scythe. Alright, now we can start working on these wings. Now, it might seem like black on camera, but I've actually painted these wings with a dark gray. So basically, we've got this dark gray base coat, and then on top of that, we're going to add some masking tape. Alright, and as you can see, I've cut the masking tape up into dozens of tiny little squares to make kind of a digital camo pattern. This is my first attempt at digital camo, so it's probably not as good as some of the other digital camo color schemes you've seen from professional modelers, but anyway. So at this point, I'm going to go over the wings with a coat of black paint, which will cover up all the exposed stuff. Alright, so now that the black paint has dried, we are now going to go in and carefully remove this masking tape. And when we do, it'll reveal that dark gray underneath. And after we get all the masking tape peeled off, this is what we're left with. Kind of a digital, I don't even know if I would really call it digital camo, just kind of a digital pattern on the wings here. So I guess that about does it for Deathscythe work in progress. I am going to be using the stickers and dry transfers that came with the kit. And I guess after all this stuff finishes drying and I do what little panel lining there is to do, and then apply the decals, top coat it, I'll be ready to assemble this guy and get on with the review. So with that, I will see you guys next time.